Hey everyone, Tony Mello, Mello Properties team. Hope you're all doing well. My cell phone 508-369-9755. 508-369-9755. All right, so I'm going to explain a very simple concept. When you purchase a property, obviously this is the purchase price, what you're offering for the property, what they've accepted hopefully for that property. Some of the things that you're going to have to come up with as far as money's concerned is the down payment and the closing costs. So in this example, I'm going to keep this super brief, hopefully. Um, just the down payment. I'm going to use an example. I kind of threw something on the screen here to show kind of the idea of how some of the stuff works, and it'll change depending on what the bank and the pre-approval you have, what they're requiring for down payment, 3%, 3.5%, 5%, 20%. It just depends on what it is that the bank needs from you based on your situation. So typically, not typically, in every single case, we need a certain amount of money to bind the offer. So in Massachusetts, we submit an offer for them to accept or not accept. And then once we get past that stage, or so when we get past that stage, then we go over into the purchase and sales agreement. Two separate documents, both of them contracts. Both of them need to be satisfied by certain conditions. One of those conditions is binder money, money that makes it a legal contract, solidifies it into in an agreement between two people. So there'll be a certain amount of money, and there's nothing saying that it has to be any specific amount of money. So it could be, if you wanted to, it could be a penny. You know what I mean? Wouldn't recommend that, but you could make it a penny. Anything of value. It doesn't even have to be money. Honestly, it could be services. It could be assets. It could be stuff like that. 99.99999% of the transactions out there is money. So all right, so money at the offer makes that a legal contract. Money at the purchase and sales agreement makes that a legal contract. What's the difference between the two? The offer is you basically saying, I'd like to buy your house for this amount of money. The purchase and sales agreement expands on that a little bit more, is the document that the lawyer uses to set up the closing for the debits and the credits and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, I'm going to flip this around, show you the screen. I'm going to kind of point as I'm going through it to explain what we're doing here. Hopefully this, and I can only assume that you can see it because I'm using my phone, and this happened to want to play at the same time. I apologize for that. Let's go back to this so we can get this. All right, so let me see here. I think you can kind of see that. This is not going to be easy to do, done well, at least. I think you can see it from there. For an example, purchase and sales agreement. The purchase price is $250,000. Let's assume it's $250,000, and your bank says that the down payment is 3.5%. So it's a 3.5% down payment. Sometimes, like I said, it's 3%, sometimes 3.5%, sometimes 5%, sometimes 10%, sometimes 20%. That is a bank dictated thing. Money at the offer, you can offer $1,000. This is just an example, and typically we do not hand over that check. What we hand over is an image of that check with the information crossed out, or at least the bank information crossed out. And then once the offer is accepted, then we deliver that check to make it real. So money at offer, $1,000. Again, this is just an example. Money at purchase and sales, $5,000. The difference of the 3.5% at closing, if any. So, for example, if you've got an FHA loan and it's a 3.5% down, and it's $250,000 that we're purchasing this property for, times 3.5%, that's $8,750. So you would pay $1,000 at offer, $5,000 at purchase and sales, and the difference between the $8,750 and the $6,000 you would bring at closing. Your mortgage is the difference between your down deposit and the purchase price. So what I'm saying there is, you purchase the property for $250,000. Your down deposit is that $8,750, the 3.5% of the purchase price. Subtract that number, and that number gives you the mortgage. So the mortgage what your interest and principal is going to be based on is the 241,250. So that is a very quick and easy way of doing that. It's just an example of some of the money that you would initially come up for the down payment and how they factor into some of the details of that. Again, I apologize. Not easy kind of to do this. I'm not trying to make it a super professional thing. It's just me with my phone to set up an example of how some of this stuff works. All right. So that was the screen. Hopefully that kind of worked. May not have worked, but I can always send examples of this stuff to you so that if this didn't make sense, or if you just couldn't see it because the phone wasn't near the screen, whatever, I can always go over that again with you. So money at offer, money at purchase sales, the difference at closing. The more money you put in at those two stages, the offer and the PNS, the happier the sellers are, because the more skin in the game that you have, the less likely you are to say, forget it, keep the money, and I'll just walk away and do something else. So sellers don't want that. They want you to offer money, commit to it, work as hard as you can to get the deal done. Paperwork with the bank and that kind of thing. If you offered a penny, obviously, like, whatever, I don't care. Penny, take the penny. You know what I mean? So for some people, that's not an option. This is the money I've got. This is all I can do right now, and that's fine. I've had money at offer at $500 instead of the $1,000. So the more money, the more secure, the better the chances, the stronger the offer. But that doesn't mean that we can't deviate from those. We can. I've had people that offered a lot more. You know what I mean? They put all of the 3.5% between the offer and the purchase of sales, and that's perfectly fine, because as long as we do our job and we watch the details of what has to happen, when it has to happen, and if something doesn't happen, we give notice, send an email, talk to somebody and say, this is not happening, that's not happening, the commitment didn't happen on time, whatever it is that's supposed to happen. If it does not happen at that certain point in time, as long as we give notice, your money's protected. If we don't give notice, then obviously that's a bad thing. We don't want to be doing that. So as long as we do certain things at certain times, your money's protected. And again, I don't want to go too crazy, 7 minutes. I always tend to ramble on with these things. Down payment, closing costs. Down payment is not closing costs. Down payment is money that you're putting into the pot to pay down that mortgage, that purchase price. Closing costs are closing costs. You're paying people to do certain things. You're employing them to lawyers, and there's bank fees and that kind of thing, courier fees. So the closing costs, you're better off just going to the lender and saying, all right, what's the estimated closing costs? And that's all based on expenses on their side, the attorneys that they're working with, what the attorneys charge, that kind of thing. So they're better off explaining roughly what those things are. Don't forget insurance. People sometimes forget insurance in that closing costs, where closing costs is this, but don't forget, you got your insurance. Add that all together, and that is the full out of pocket that you can expect. So all right, I'm going to review this. Hopefully I didn't make it confusing. It sounds confusing to me right now. But if you've got any questions about down payments, closing costs, where the money comes from. Sometimes it comes from a 401k, and whether or not you can or can't take that money out at that point in time. I can go on and on about VA loans and FHA loans and USDA loans. I'm going through one right now where it's basically having like two lenders. You got to do all this work over here, and you got to do all this work over here, and they both have to do their own thing. And if something messes up, it goes back to this one, and then this one has to go back over here and starts all over again. So this particular USDA, we're on extension number 3. I sent another one, number 4, out last night. And the lender's working as hard as she can to get things done, but it is back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So hopefully we get that one done soon. There's benefits to USDA, and I can explain that. Call me, talk to me. We'll talk about that stuff. There's also downsides, what I just said, with that stuff. All right, I don't want to go too crazy. See ya. Tony Mello, Mello Properties Team, 508-369-9755. Bye.